Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty interesting stuff going on. We actually are now seeing certain Xbox consoles actually completely and utterly, well, kind of beating out the PlayStation 5. But it's somewhat of a little bit of a complicated situation, and in all honesty, from as I've been kind of looking at the data before, I made the video itself in the first place, some of it actually kind of seemed kind of bad just for the overall gaming scene, but some of the kind of stuff that we're actually seeing over here is that we're actually now seeing the Xbox Series S literally now even going outside the PlayStation 5 by literally even over double. So there's some really crazy things to go talk about. Although, like I said, a lot of this stuff is somewhat on the complicated side and kind of on the weirder side too as well. But a lot of intriguing information, a lot of fun stuff to go talk about. And as well, it's always just a fun time when I get to see all of you lovely folks in the comment section down below. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. As well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller. Twitter and Twitch room as well linked down below. And sign up for Weeble, sign up for Coinbase, and sign up for the Twitter giveaway and all the Xbox stuff down below. And let's dive into the video itself. So, as you guys know, recently the Xbox Series S has been doing well, kind of phenomenally. But the one funny thing is that although this is kind of like a pro Xbox, like kind of giving them like a, pat in the back, there is also one of the craziest numbers we're going to show you guys in a second when it comes to the Xbox Series X's. So let's go talk about this a little bit more in depth and in detail. So as I've mentioned, the Xbox Series S has been doing well, and on top of that too, the PlayStation 5 has kind of been on a little bit of a slower, I guess, zoom mood when it comes to restocks, especially as of these past few weeks. So with this, the Xbox Series S actually has outsold the PlayStation 5 in Japan last week, but it's complicated. So let's go talk about it. So it's no big secret that Microsoft has struggled to crack into the Japanese market, which has been very true. As of right now, the numbers are like, it's like 1 million PlayStation 5s to like 100,000, if anything, on the Xbox side. So always take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to these big numbers. But obviously, if you're Microsoft, you want to try to at least go and push every market. So China, Japan, Korea, America, obviously, you want to try your best to get what you guys can go and do. But for all 4 generations of Xbox have seen minuscule uptake in a country that vastly prefers to buy domestic hardware from both Nintendo and Sony, which is kind of a big, kind of truthful thing. Because obviously, they're Japanese-based companies, and obviously Sony's a Japanese-based company, Nintendo's Japanese-based. So if you could either go and pick and choose, would you rather go and say buy something that was made maybe in America, or buy something maybe made in like Yugoslavia? Now, nothing against Yugoslavians, but I'm sure most people would be like, yeah, I'll just go America, or yeah, I want to support our local economy. It's not the biggest deal, but it's definitely one of those things. However, last week, something extraordinary happened, as we have right here from PlayStation Lifestyle, where over May 9th and 15th, the Xbox Series S literally outsold the PlayStation 5 by a 2-to-1 ratio. And like I said, we have some pretty intriguing Xbox Series X numbers. Now, this has kind of been a big phenomenon because it's just so easy to make the Xbox Series S's. We keep uncovering about that and talking about that in our videos. I'm on the same level of, say, the Switch, where it's just not as intense, it's just not as big, and at the end of the day, like, it's also cheaper, you still get Game Pass if you had to go pick and choose, or maybe you want to get into PC gaming, just didn't have a chance to, well, afford a $1,000 computer, an Xbox Series S is always nice to go and see. So basically, is the Xbox outselling the PlayStation in Japan? So looking at some of the internal numbers from all of this, and this is, like I said, very intriguing stuff. Look at the numbers via Famitsu. You might think that Microsoft has finally hit its stride in Japan after 2 decades. However, while the Xbox Series S, X, and S line of consoles has sold better, it seems to be just more of an issue of how low the PS5 stock is at a time of sudden burst in popularity. So I want to deep dive into this, because I want to see Xboxes everywhere. I want to see PlayStations everywhere. I want to see Switches everywhere. So as of this past, just pretty much about past week or so, it takes a little while for data to be updated. They had the Switch OLED at 35,000 consoles, which is still, I'd say, pretty good, #1 seller. And then the Switch base model at 20,000. So they've sold pretty much around like 60,000 or so if you factor in the Switch Lites too as well. Although, surprisingly, they only literally did 900 Switch Lites. You would kind of think they'd sell more, in all honesty, but I guess it's just not selling as well, and people aren't just liking it, which, makes sense. And then we also have kind of the big boy over here, which is kind of the topic of the article. 6,120 Xbox Series S's. That's not bad. For a week, that's not really that bad. That's still some pretty good money, pretty good profits, whatever. You get more people to get Xbox ecosystem, whatever. But it's kind of crazy if you kind of compare, say, it's the PlayStation 5, because as of right now, you can even see the numbers. At this point, the basically the Xbox Series S has done around 100,000 numbers, and then the PS5, as of at least in Japan, 1.3, rounding up to 1.4 million numbers. And this kind of just goes to show that right now it really seems like Sony is just not making PlayStations. I just really don't know why. Here in America, we've barely seen restocks. In Europe, we did see a decent amount. In Canada, not so much. In Australia, I think it's also been dry. I think in other regions too, like the India and all the other locations, I think it's also been all very dry. Now, I mean, there's a few sporadic restocks trickled on in, don't get me wrong, but it just, for some odd reason, kind of goes to show that the PlayStation's just been very barren. Now, maybe my expectations is that they're just waiting for the, the brand new bundles we've been mentioning on the channel, for like the PlayStation 5 Disc and Digital Horizon bundles, so maybe they're just kind of prepping up and stocking up for that, and they want to do a lot of big restocks, but still, once again, they do have said on confirmed that they want to go do like at least 18 million consoles, and they just have to make consoles. Every day is a ticking like clock. Like, you gotta go and sell stuff, and now we've been like 3 weeks into the fiscal year, and we basically have had like 0 big restocks of the PlayStation 5. So it's just kind of just disappointing. So if you guys can actually see the numbers, the Xbox Series S is still pulling its weight, and it's kind of cool to see proper numbers because it is a good console. And as of these past few weeks especially, that's what Microsoft's kind of been prodding people on, or even say for Black Friday, where it just seems like people want to buy that. They have the simplicity, they have the easy price points, they have everything else all tied on in. So at the end of the day, it's not bad. Like, it's really not bad. But the part 2 of that is just, it seems like the PlayStation 5 just didn't have enough stock. Now, we also did have the PS5 Digital, which is kind of actually also pretty close to the usual, like, 1-to-5 ratio we usually see in terms of stock. It also even kind of compared to as well for the totals, where it's like 1.4 to 200K. Like, just, we were just not getting a lot of PS5 Digitals, even in other different countries and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy to see. And then obviously the new Nintendo 2DSL, which is at 235. And the one thing I kind of want to mention is the Xbox Series X. Now, I think the Xbox Series S is, like I said, it's easier to produce, it's cheaper to produce, a lot more people are cool with it with the lower price point. If you're in like a somewhat unknown market, like such as Japan, like you're already competing against Nintendo and Sony, like it's kind of more smarter to lose less money and invest like, less big money, because I feel like it's just like selling the Switch versus buying a PC. It's kind of more easy to justify buying the Switch, instead of anything else. But it's crazy to me that there is only 105 Xbox Series X's made in all of Japan, and like sold in all of Japan. Now, am I the only one who thinks that is so low? Like, that's almost like surprisingly low. Like, I can understand maybe a PS5 Digital. I mean, but I also feel like that seems so low too as well for 453. Like, that's awful. Like, I just don't understand these numbers. Like, it's kind of crazy to see on just how there's basically no stock. There's just basically no consoles. Like, I'm sure we probably sell more than 100 of them, like, just through, I guess, Target stores, and probably like in like a few hours, I'd say, if they get like a nice little batch shipment. And it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, like, it does. Like, it's, it's harder to get in the market, so you have to spend the extra money. And like I said, you probably want to prefer the Xbox Series S if you can. But dang, that is just very, very low amounts. And it's also kind of funny too to see just the PS4 as well on there. But even on the PS4, they still have like 7.8 million consoles that have been sold over the time, while right now the Xbox is still only at 100K. But it's also even more like kind of surprising that as of this point, they are still focusing their marketing plan on just getting more Xbox Series S's out. I mean, like, once again, they want people on Game Pass. That's probably their long-term play. Xbox Series S's are cheap to make. They're probably getting profit margins. So again, at the end of the day, it does make sense. But it's just crazy to go and see, because even the article itself was like, hey, another interesting stats that the new Nintendo 2DSL also both the Xbox Series X and PS4, because considering this, the last game was actually released 3 years ago. Like, what on earth's going on over here? And now, just in case you guys are curious on the games, they have the Nintendo Switch Sports at 47,000, Kirby as well, 14,000, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, just all Nintendo, it's Jesus. E-Baseball, Powerful Professional Baseball, Ring Fit, once again Nintendo, Minecraft, Switch, Nintendo, the Centurion Case, the Achievement Story, no idea, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Nintendo, Super Mario Party, like All-Stars, Nintendo, and Legend, like Breath of the Wild. Like, it's insane. Just to go and see how all this has been over here, it's been insane. That's just nuts. Also, a lot of fans have also been hypothesizing that Sony's increased focus in the West, including establishing Sony Interactive Entertainment HQ in San Montillo, has alienated some of its Japanese audience too as well, especially because pretty much everything's selling towards, well, Nintendo. But it's crazy to go and see these numbers, because it does go and show that the Xbox Series S has been doing really well, even in America. Like, they're still getting good numbers, good sales, good profits, and it still seems like it's been a worthwhile investment. But it's crazy to see that there is only 100 Xbox Series X is sold, and obviously we'll have to see how the PlayStations do in separate weeks and separate months, but just for this own information over here, I'm just kind of generally somewhat surprised. So kind of give me your thoughts and comments down below. Do you still think the Xbox Series S is kind of still worth up the hype? Do you think it's just like a really bad restocking week for the PS5? All that stuff, leave your comments and thoughts down below. As well, if you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller, Twitter and Twitch stream down below, the Webull and Coinbase down below, and the Twitter giveaway and Xbox is all down below as well. Just want to go check and see, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching.